It's Professor Loushine again. This is the fourth step or the fifth video of the 8 video series in how to analyze data in order to prioritize where to focus a safety program. In this video, I'm going to review how to explore the claims from a where perspective. And what I mean by that is that depending on where you get your loss run data from, they could have things like policy class code, they could have accident location, accident department, there could be job title. There are a lot of different things that a carrier may keep. So we're going to explore those, and we're going to use the same count if, sum if formulas, if you will, from Microsoft Excel. But now we're going to introduce the risk priority number. A lot of you may be familiar that the concept of risk is defined as multiplying probability times severity. And so I've created proxies where we're going to be calculating them as percent count and percent total paid. And we're going to multiply those two together to get a risk priority number. And we're going to use those numbers in order to create a rank order priority list. And what I'm going to do is, as we rank or we get priorities, I'm going to start adding them up till we get to the Pareto ratio. That's the 80-20 rule. This concept came from Joseph Juran, who is a quality guru, not as maybe as celebrated as Deming, but still contributed a lot to the field. And that's what's going to guide us to the next step, which is to after we investigate causes, we'll be able to really focus on and trend and forecast for losses. In the last video, we completed the annual trends, and I'm just going to go over those results really quickly with you. And that is, for company A, we had this interesting downward trend in that whatever they're doing once a claim is made, the investigation, the follow-up, whatever mitigation steps they're taking, it appears to be working. Not only is count going down, so is total paid and the average per claim. So we're going to have to work a little bit harder to try to find out where we could prioritize the next step and justify investment. In company B, this was interesting. So it wasn't a consistent trend. The best fit line has a slight upward inclination, but there's a weird dip or an odd dip between 2013 and 2014. And then it's kind of gone up, and there's some indication that it may continue going up, other than it may be coming down. And so we got to dig deeper there. It appears that whatever corrective actions, whatever was successful in that 2013-2014 span is gone. Company C, this is sort of, we have a little of both. The count appears to be trending upward, although slightly. Same with the total paid, although again, slightly, because there seems to be a peak in 2014. The average cost per claim is going down, though, trending downward, which is interesting. That tends to be a symbol or a representation of success. In the fourth and final company, we have an interesting, we have interesting dips, not from a count perspective so much, but the count for 2018 dropped considerably. I wonder what happened, what they did in the 2017 range to get the 2018 to come down so drastically. And then we have this interesting total paid. We have this, dip in 2013, and then a peak in 2015, and then another dip in 2017. And we have a similar trend or phenomena in the average per claim. So it's kind of all over the place. So this is going to be, we have to dig deeper here to find out what's really going on. What can we do? Overall, the lines seem to be either trending slightly down or slightly up. In this next step, we're going to use pivot tables. I'm doing that in order to identify the categories under these variables for policy class code, accident location, accident department. Not every data set has all three of these. I believe 2 just have the policy class code and 2 others have all 3. And I'm going to show you how to do them all really quickly, but I'm going to try to make this video a lot shorter than the last one. Last one went awfully long, but there was more manual work. We're going to use tables to add some things up, and then use the risk priority calculation, sort by it, and then figure out what the top whatever number of categories represent till we get about that 80%. That's what we're aiming for. It's not specifically 80%. It could be anywhere from like a 70 to upper 80s, but it's just going to tell us where to cut it off, and that's where we'll focus. And of course, there'll be cellular manipulations. And here's just a quick overview of what we're going to be doing. So let's get to it. Bring the data over. So I already completed the analysis for 3 of them, and so I'm going to do the demonstration using the first company, or company A. As you can see in front of us here, I've got the final charts that we completed in the last video. This is the company A annual trends with no outliers. The outliers are down here below. So the first thing I need to do is create a table which I can use for pivot tables. And so I'm going to create a new tab. I'm going to call this A pivot table. And I just need to make a clean set of data to work off of. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to take this, and we were just looking at, paste it, and now I need to clean it up. I'm going to get rid of that space just by deleting it. Scroll down. I don't think this is a real big data set, but I'm not going to scroll. So, yeah, 486, but then we've got outliers removed. So now I'm going to delete everything down here, because we're just going to be using pivot tables. So now everything, it's all cleaned up. There's nothing down here. And now this can be used to generate the categories in which we have, and what do we have here? We've got policy class code, and that's it. So I'll just be doing policy class code, and I'll show you how I did it in some of the other ones, just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to make another tab, and I'm going to call it A, and I've been calling them where. My coding system, I'm doing it on the fly, so I'm sure there's a better term. And so I'm going to bring over this spreadsheet, which was the one we had started looking at. See, that way what I can do is I can add the outliers back in if I want to, because let's see, we want to keep that. We want to get rid of this, because if we're gonna, what's great is as we manipulate the top now, it'll automatically update these other tables that we have in here, and then we can create new charts, new scatter plots, which we'll do in the final steps for forecasting. Not in the final steps, but in like two more videos we'll be doing that. So I'm going to put the policy class codes up here. Ooh. And let's see, and then we're going to do count, and we're going to do percent count, and then we're going to do the paids. We don't have to do them all, I just am. And then I'm going to do a percent total paid, and I'm going to do an average per claim. I'll do my RPN, which is risk priority number, and then we're going to do priorities. We don't always need to do that, but yeah, we will. We'll try to. I'm not sure how this one's going to work out because I spent a lot of time doing the others. So let's go get it. I'm going to the pivot table. So all we have here is the data with the outliers removed. So I'm going to highlight the entire data set and go into Insert up on the top here and go on Pivot Table. And it's already identified the whole data set, so we're good. So then we got this. Now, it's difficult for me to talk through this because I'm not an expert. I thank Carrie Parman from Alliant Energy for showing me the little that I know. And so just try to follow, contact her if you have any questions. So first we created unique identifiers to use as the filter. So now what it does is it uniquely identifies each claim in the data set. Then what I want to do is I want to sort by the rows. The row are going to be the policy class codes. So I'm going to take that and drag it down. And, oh, geez, there's only 3. But let's see how many there are. So I'm going to go back to the unique identifier and put it in values. And it appears that, yeah, this is going to be shorter than we thought. So there's only 3, but I'm going to go look at it anyway. I'm going to see if it is going to let me copy and paste that over. This is basically what I've been doing. is populating based on that. I'm going to get rid of that because I'm going to count it up myself. So I'm just going to quickly go through here and see if there's any missing entries. Let's just expand it out. Really easy to do. So again, we highlight the header row. We go to data. We go through filter. We go to the policy class code and just sort it. And now I can just scroll down and look for any missed entry. Now it should have caught it. It should have caught it when I just ran the pivot table. And it appears that they're all there. And okay, that's column N. So that's what I'll be counting from. The percent, I want to divide by the original count. And so I may have to go back to the A master to get it. It's 486. So I'll be dividing everything by 486 to get the percent. For the total paid, I need to get the original, and I'm just going to use a portal for that. Go back to A master. That's the original total. Okay. I didn't realize this one was going to be so easy, but yeah, whatever. I'll show you the results of the other ones, and that was a lot of work. I'm going to go ahead and clean it up, because that's how I do. All right, let me get the totals. Okay, that should have centered though. Good enough. All right, so here we're going to do it. We're going to count them. Equal, count if. This is N2 to N 487, because that's the bottom right there. 487. Because I could maybe I'll show you how I add in the outliers. And I gotta click on here. It's not going to be as big a deal. So I gotta freeze the rows. So I can click and drag because I'm going up and down. There we go. Equals sum. And we want this to be the reduced amount, which is 459. Very good. To do the percent count, we just click on that cell, which is the count, divide it by 486, which is the original total. We turn this into a percent and drag it down. And I drag it all the way down here. So what's missing is for 6-something%. But that was probably already known from when we did the A outliers, which is way over here. Yeah, this is a really big spreadsheet. And what percent? Yeah, 5.56. That's what it was. Let's get back up here. Okay, so I'm back to the same page. I hope you can see it. I should have really enlarged that before. So we just did count if. We divided the count by the original total. And cleaning things up. So paid medical is Q. So we've got Q, we've got R, we've got S. This is actually supposed to be right there, but it's T. It's right there. So equals sum if. And I got to designate the range for the policy class codes, which is N2 to N487. See how it lit up there? And then I select the criterion, which is the class code. And so for whatever row has that, we want it to add up anything in Q2 to Q487. And that lit up as well. Hit return. I'm going to be moving this around. So first, I need to completely freeze the original criterion range, because as we move around, that has to stay the same. As we go left to right, I need that to stay the same, but as it goes up and down, I want that to change. And then as we go left to right, I just need the rows to remain the same, but I want the columns to change. Turn this into currency, get rid of the pennies, scroll, or drag, whatever you want to call it. Let's make sure this is correct. And drag that over. So is the total right here. See, this is how you can always check your work, because that's why I keep these tables still in the page. All right, let's get a percent total. So we basically equal, we click on the amount, and we divide it by the original total, which is 1541971. Gotta turn that into a percentage. It's a very low percentage. So that's our overall total that's left. The average per claim, let's just click on the total paid and divide it by the number or the count. You can go all the way down with that. That's the overall average. Got to get rid of the cents. Now the RPN. We go equal. We click on the percent count and then the multiplication sign, which is a star, and total paid. And we want that to be a percent. Yes. Okay. It got out of the... There we go. I'm going to give it one more. Okay. Drag that down here. So one of them dominates. Now it is just a rank order, okay? But still the magnitude means something. And this is a magnitude of 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be priority 1. This is all we need to focus on. What does it represent? Because I'll be going to go into the other ones now. So when analyzing this data, using policy class code for where, this is all we can really use. It's not going to help a lot. It doesn't reduce a lot. So this is a difficult data set. I wish there was more as far as where to go. I think state's all the same. This is just a very simple data set. But some of you may have a simple data set. So then we're going to rely more on what than where. So it represents 93%. You see here, for the total pay, it's 36.3, but because it represents that, an adjusted percent for this, where you go equal, you go the amount, and then you divide it by what it's representing. And I could do the algebra for you, but believe you me, it works, and that'll probably give us 99. Yep. So that's the where right there. So let's look at some other ones. Oh man, I can't believe we're 17 minutes in already. I've got B where. So I've got more policy class codes here. This took more work. I did the same technique that you saw, but then when it comes to going top 3, what I do is I sort by RPN. I just highlighted as it was, and then did the data sort, and then did the RPN. Okay, it doesn't show up there, but I know RPN is under AA, so I sort it, and then so it gives me the top RPNs up top. I can write in priorities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I went down here. I did the top 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so all this is just adding up. So I just added up. I just clicked on those two, dragged it over, and got these for the total paid, and then divided by this amount. So it looks like top 4 is plenty. We've got the Pareto. We've got 83 here. We've got 86.7 theoretically or adjusted right here. So these so when I analyze this data, I'm going to be looking in these 4 policy class codes. Now we also got accident location here. And as you can see up here, I did the same analysis. It's just a different criterion. I can show you, I got the B pivot table here, highlight it, I go insert pivot table, and I'll put the number as the filter. So accident location, I put that as a row. See, it came up. As far as values, I put in a number again, and it brings them up. So what I did is I did this, and then what I did is just copied and pasted this onto here. And that's how I populated this. Now you'll notice that there is a blank opening here, and there's 15 of them. So what I did is went up here, right there, highlighted this row, put on the filter, sorted by accident location, which is right here. So I sorted it, and then I just scrolled down and found the openings. And anything when there was nothing written there, I typed in 9999. That's my default unknown or missing. I end up being on the bottom. There it is. So it ended up being about right here. So I had typed these in. I just basically typed in, like I did early on, I typed in 999 and then I clicked and just dragged it down just to fill in, just like how I did the fiscal year entries. Okay. So accident location, and I've got a top whatever. I'm not going to use it for my analysis later just because I've got these 4. It's easier. Here I'd have to use Yeah, I'd probably have to use somewhere like maybe top 7, 5 or 7, depending. That's location. There were a total of 39 entries for location, and then I did department. Again, I did the same thing with the pivot table. I could do it right now. Take location out, put in accent department, copy this. I had 86 that weren't entered, so I have to enter in 9999 for those. Same method. I just copied this, a lot of it, right? Copied it on over to here, and there were a total of this is unusable. 345, completely unusable. And if you see what I did to try to figure out if I could get to the Pareto, top 50, what do we get? We're still in the 60s and low 70s. So it's an unusable variable for the type of analysis I want to do. Maybe I could do like 1, 2, or 3. I could maybe do the top 3, but again, it doesn't represent a lot. So whatever. Let's go to the next one. At least you're seeing the technique, and all I'm trying to do is prioritize the where. It's what I'm going to do to sort the above. So up here, if I was to sort by a particular accent location or multiples, and then delete everything else that isn't what I want to focus on, then this table here would update itself, and this table here would update itself. And then what I could do is just graph what's here or scatter plot what's here, and I'd be trending for what's left over. And that's what we're getting to, is we're trying to identify where to focus, and then what to focus on will be the next video. And we'll probably be reclassifying some cause codes to make it a little bit simpler. And then we're just going to combine those results and kind of get the cross of our priorities. And then that's what we'll be forecasting, just like we did for the annual trends. Same thing, but we're trying to narrow down to a particular where and what. That's what's going on. All right, so real quickly, I'm just going to wrap up this video soon. I've got C, company C, so I have one class code here. It dominates. I did for accident location. I did top 10 all the way up to top 30, and I guess I didn't calculate I need to divide by what the subtotal is, which is 0.30586. And that'll give me the adjusted. Let's see what it is. It gets up to 80. So you could do top 30. Location, how many do we have? Top 30 would be almost half, almost 50%. Yeah, not going to use it. And then we've got accident department, and as you can see, there's 100 entries, pretty much unusable. I did the top, all the way up to top 50. We could see what the adjusted is. I'll take the amount, divide it by, what did we just did that? 0.30586. Again, I can show you the algebra of how that works, but trust me, it's when you do algebraically x over 100 is equal to this percent divided by the 30 point whatever. That's okay. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. But trust me, I did it on paper before I did it on the video. Oh, we could go with the top 30 of 100. It's 30%. So there's a lot. We're trying to simplify life a little bit. How much will this? Counts for 91%. Also, when we get down into, again, the outliers, it'll be easier to spot them as well. It just makes things a little bit easier on us. The last one I'll show you is what I did for D. I believe D was our big data set. I identified 2 class codes. Represents 82% of the count, equivalent of an adjusted 99% of what's paid. So that should look real interesting, but there was not an accident location. I don't think there's anything else here. I thought maybe there was an occupation code, but I'm not seeing it. So we're kind of limited by that. So for the next video, I'll kind of do another rundown of what the priorities are for each. I'll probably be using class code for various reasons. I'll provide the stats on that. that will be the focus, or the the next step, and then we'll be looking at the accident source and redefining into a new cause. And after that, things get pretty easy, because then we're just standardizing and putting things onto a just putting things on a spreadsheet, sorting, deleting what we don't want, and then letting these tables repopulate themselves. And then we're trending, and we'll do both an average off of the table, and we'll do a forecast from the chart, and we'll take the more conservative, those two numbers, so we'll know what the range is, and then we'll come up with some what I believe is justified conservative estimates for investment, and some return on investment. So join me in the next video.